Good morning. Hello, Dallas. How are we doing? It's great to be here. It's great to be allowed to travel across the Atlantic again. I couldn't come last year because of all the ludicrous restrictions, but I'm here, I'm back, supporting CPAC as I always do, and I'll be at CPAC Sydney in a couple of weeks. And I just want to say, from all of us, let's just give a big round of applause, huge thanks to Matt Schlapp and the team for the great work they do. And what an important time it is. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we are under attack. Under attack as never before. And that threat is not external. No, not even Nancy Pelosi's one-woman attempt to start the Third World War is the biggest threat we face. And it's not Putin. The biggest threat we face is from within. The biggest threat we face is the fifth column inside all of our countries that is attempting to destroy the family unit, attempting to destroy our Judeo-Christian culture, attempting to destroy our constitution, attempting to destroy our history, our pride in who we are and what we are. And the way they're doing it is predominantly through the educational institutions, the universities, the colleges. Kids are not being taught critical thinking. Kids are not being taught there are two valid approaches to a problem. Our children are being indoctrinated. Our universities have become madrasas of Marxism, and it's got to change. It needs to change. And the same goes for the media. Now, somebody well known to all of you coined a phrase a few years ago about the media. Do you remember it? He did it so well too, didn't he? You're fake news, fake news. And he was right. He was right. White privilege did not exist as a term. You didn't hear about white privilege 10, 20 years ago, and yet mainstream media now ram it down our throats every single day. That's just one little example. Our kids, from a young age, are being told, if you're black, you're a victim. If you're white, you're an oppressor. You should be ashamed of your family, ashamed of the history of your country. None of this is bringing societies together. None of this is aimed at harmony. This is not accidental. What is going on, and it's happening in the US, it's happening in Canada, it's happening in the UK, it's happening in Australia, it's happening in New Zealand. It is the English-speaking countries that have got this terrible virus, worse than anywhere else in the world. This is a Marxist attempt to break Western civilization, a Marxist attempt to destroy everything that we are. And we are going to fight back hard against it, aren't we? But you know, part of the problem, though, is our problem. Part of the problem is that our conservative parties, our conservative movements, have allowed all of this to be done. Basically through cowardice, through fear. People do not want to be called nasty names. And too many of our elected representatives from conservative parties right across the West are not actually conservatives. You've got your rhinos. But hey, didn't those primaries go the right way last week? Wasn't that great? And we're the same. Boris Johnson, elected as a Conservative, but chose to govern as a Liberal. And in Australia, Scott Morrison, a Conservative Prime Minister who locked Australia down in the most vicious way, barely did a single recognisable Conservative thing, and of course he's gone on to lose the election. You see, the moral of the story is clear. When Conservative parties stop being conservative, guess what happens? They lose. They lose elections. And that, I think, is where the opportunity is here in America. Because be clear about one thing. To save Western civilization, this is the battleground. Because if America falls, we all fall. But I know I'm talking to perhaps the most important group of people that have ever assembled in one room. Because you are the foot soldiers. You are the foot soldiers in this battle on behalf not just of America, but on behalf of the whole of the free world, to save everything our forebears built, designed, and defended against the world. The responsibility is yours. Are you ready for that responsibility? Are you going to go out and fight and win? Good, because we can do it. We can do it. However mad, however crazy the whole thing may seem, don't think the vast majority in your country or mine think we ought to refer to pregnant person. No, it's a pregnant woman. Don't think the majority out there in the country, outside of the big cities, outside of mainstream media, outside of the modern day corporates, I mean, they don't think that 6'3" Leah Thomas, rated 454 in the world as a male swimmer, who suddenly decides she's going to be a woman and starts winning races, they may think that's just great in the Oval Office, but the middle of America doesn't think it's great. And here's the thing. The silent majority is still on our side, and it's through them we can win. And I think if you study history, you'll see that pendulums can go in one direction for much further than many would want, but in the end, that pendulum comes back. And I think we're beginning to see a little bit of common sense creeping in. And I think we're beginning to see, and I mentioned it already, but those primaries last week, we're beginning to see, Steve Bannon last night said, and isn't Steve doing a great job? What a fantastic job. Great job. The energy down in Radio Row, unbelievable. Steve said something last night that I think was right. He said, Carrie Lake is the future of this movement. And I think he's right. I think he's right. Something really important is happening. New people are coming in. And I believe, and you may say to me, well, what right do you have as a Brit to give us your opinion? But I'm going to give it anyway. But to stand up against the establishment, to stand up against the deep state, to stand up against all these things the globalists try and impose upon us, takes a man or woman of exceptional courage. And I believe that you, in the conservative movement in this country, are very lucky to have a man who, since he left office, looks like he's lost about 20 pounds. The weight of the world is coming off his shoulders. His nominees are winning the primaries. And I believe Donald Trump is the man to go out there and fight on behalf of America and the Western world. I do. I do. A man of incredible courage, of leadership and of foresight. If he was there, I don't believe the Ukraine war would be happening. If he was there, so much that is going wrong wouldn't be. And I'm reminded of a speech he gave at the United Nations in 2018, when he said out loud to the German delegation, he said, by going green and making yourself wholly dependent upon Russia, you're making a big mistake. And you know what? They all laughed at him. Well, to use a line I used in the European Parliament the day after Brexit, they're not laughing now, are they? As energy is rationed. And that's the madness. That is the madness of these policies. The madness of going green without a thought. The madness of taking us down a rabbit hole where we hate ourselves and we hate our country. We can turn this around in all of our countries, but it takes leadership, it takes courage, it takes belief, and it takes an understanding that the way to win is to find the millions of people out there who in their hearts agree with us, but who in the past have not turned out to vote. That is how we won Brexit. We won Brexit by getting people to vote who don't normally vote, to make them think this matters. And I think the integrity of your country, all that Western civilization has stood for, that's enough, in my opinion, to get mums and dads out to vote in November this year and heading in to 2024, because they're beginning to understand and realize what is at stake. So much that was built and defended at a cost of great treasure and much blood is under threat. And we're not, are we? We're not going to stand idly by and see this happen. We're going to turn this around. We need you, the foot soldiers. We need good leadership. And we must believe, and we do believe, that out there in our countries, there is a big majority for common sense. A big majority that believes in the country. A big majority that we've got to get out there and reach. And that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to do my bit. I'll help CPAC. And isn't it great to see CPAC going all around the world? Amazing. What a message. So I want to say thank you. We're all looking forward to the big speech at 5:30. That's going to be something else. But I want to pay tribute to all of you for the work you've done already. The bad news, folks, is the real hard work has only just begun. There is more to do. Are you ready for that fight? Thank you very much indeed. It's a pleasure to come and speak at CPAC. It always is. You're great people. Thank you.